Is world politics solely determined by impersonal forces like the balance of power, capital flows, and the advents of technology? Or do people play some role in shaping the world in which we live? I'm Jim Lindsay, and this is Lessons Learned. Our topic today is prisoner number 46664, better known to the world as Nelson Mandela. He was released from a South African prison after 27 years of confinement on February 11, 1990. Nelson Mandela was born in Transkei, South Africa. In his 20s, he joined the African National Congress, better known by its initials, the ANC. As a member of the ANC, he worked to end the system of apartheid, or white majority rule, in South Africa. Initially, Mandela was committed to the principle of nonviolent resistance that had been championed by Mahatma Gandhi, who had led the Indian independence from Great Britain. By 1961, however, Mandela had abandoned nonviolent resistance to take the lead of the ANC's armed wing. In a series of sabotage and bombing campaigns against South African military and government facilities, he tried to facilitate the end of apartheid. But his campaign of military resistance didn't last long. In 1962, he was arrested and first tried for sabotage and then for treason. At his trial for treason, Mandela justified his embrace of armed struggle and his abandonment of nonviolent resistance. He argued it was justified on the grounds that the increased repression of the white government in Pretoria had made violent resistance the only option. At the conclusion of his trial, he gave a stirring defense of the principles that had guided his struggle.
I have cherished the idea of a democratic and free society in which all persons will live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an idea for which I hope to live for and to see realized. But my Lord, if it needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die.
Despite his impassioned and eloquent defense, Mandela was sentenced to life in prison. He would spend the next quarter of a century behind prison bars. He spent many of those years in South Africa's infamous Robben Island prison, working at hard labor in a lime quarry. He would receive one visitor and one letter every 6 months. If the South African government thought that imprisoning Mandela would stop his fame, they were wrong. Over the years, his fame grew. He became the symbol of the evils of apartheid. In 1985, the white majority regime in Pretoria offered Mandela the opportunity to go free if he would renounce armed struggle. He refused to. Eventually, the government in Pretoria recognized reality, and in February 1990, Nelson Mandela was released from prison. As he left the prison, he spoke to the people of South Africa. He refused to give up on armed struggle, but nonetheless said he hoped to negotiate a peaceful end to apartheid. Over the next years, Mandela would lead that successful effort to end apartheid and peacefully transition to democratic rule. In 1993, Mandela would be recognized for his successes with the Nobel Peace Prize. And in 1994, Mandela would be elected in South Africa's first free, open, and inclusive elections as president of the country. What is the lesson of Nelson Mandela's experience? At its broadest, it reminds us that people do shape history. People can make a difference. Mandela's courage and commitment brought the evil system of apartheid to an end and changed the face of a nation. We see similar examples of people making a difference today, differences both large and small. It might be Aung San Suu Kyi fighting for democratic transition in Burma, or a fruit vendor like Mohamed Bouazizi in Tunisia, whose sacrifice sparked a revolution that is sweeping the Arab world. We see it in the tireless efforts of countless people from government, from business, from nonprofit groups working to tackle tough foreign policy problems. I invite you to join me in continuing the conversation at my blog, The Water's Edge. You can find it at cfr.org. This is Jim Lindsay, and I want to thank you for watching this installment of Lessons Learned.